What up, YouTube? You already know, Big Lou tapping back in with what it do with Big Lou, NFZR2, baby, baby. And this one cold mo foe out here. It ain't nothing like y'all going through in the East Coast, you know, Buffalo, New York, New Jersey, Philly, Pittsburgh, you know what I mean? But it's cold for us over here. We're talking about late, mid 30s, high 30s. That's considered freezing over here. But nonetheless, this video is I guess you could say, dedication to speak about the legendary Franco Harris, who passed away on December 20th, 2022, 4 days before the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception, that they were gonna honor him this Sunday, or excuse me, Saturday, yesterday, by retiring his jersey and having a ceremony at halftime. But like I mentioned, unfortunately, he passed away 4 days before it was gonna happen, and they said that he was very juiced and excited about showing up at the game, and and having his jersey, retired and put up in the rafters with a lot of the other greats. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. But it was, and this is a little article I'm going to read, and I'm going to break down some of his accolades, and his highlights from his NFL career, and some of his stats. So it wasn't supposed to be like this, right? That's how Pittsburgh Steelers president Art Rooney II prefaced Saturday evening's bittersweet jersey retirement ceremony for franchise icon Franco Harris, the Hall of Fame running back whose immaculate reception launched a destiny 50 years ago this week. Passed away Tuesday at the age of 72, just days before he was set to be honored, along with his 1972 Steeler teammates, and become just the third member of the franchise to have his number retired. Harris' death cast a pall over a week that was supposed to be warm celebration of his career and an iconic Steelers moment. Still, in frigid temperatures at halftime of the Pittsburgh's 13-10 comeback win at Arcrisure Stadium, Harris family, widow Dana, and son Doc, Steelers ownership, alumni, fans braved the elements to pay their tributes to the Steel City standout. The big man was supposed to be standing right here next to me. That's what Rooney said during the ceremony. But I want to thank Dana and Doc for being here tonight, for sharing Franco with us for the last 50 years. It's been said, life will bring you sorrow, but it's up to you to bring us the joy. Franco brought us joy for 50 years. So in recognition of his many contributions, both on and off the field, it's my honor to declare number 32 an officially officially retired. And a lot of the 1972 members of that squad were there. There was about probably 15 players that were there, including Mean Joe Green. And they had the terrible towels waving around in his honor. Steelers fans roared with chants of Franco, Franco, as Rooney then presented Harris, widow and son, with number 32 jersey. It wasn't the first time Saturday night cheers broke out for the Hall of Famer. During pregame introductions, Steelers swapped out. Cameron Hayward ran out with the tunnel, hoisting a massive black number 32 flag to a notable ovation. He was one of my Steelers players and coaches arrived to the stadium wearing Harris's number 32 jersey. And another thing was that Hayward has his own podcast, and he just had Franco on that week, and they were talking about the weekend. And he had did some other things, interviews and things on other podcasts and radio stations that week. So it is a bittersweet moment, like they said. But nonetheless, even though I'm a Raider, and in the Steelers we battled a lot in the '70s. I always say if it wasn't for the Raiders, there would be no Steelers, because that's how the rivalry they had back in the '70s. They were the two dominant forces of the AFC. You know what I mean? Harris was then honored with a moment of silence before the singing of the national anthem. We had a chance to be a part of Steeler history tonight, Coach Mike Tomlin said after the emotional win, clad in Harris jersey. We don't take that lightly, man. We're just so appreciative of the ground that's been laid by those that have come before us. And that's the thing too. I'm real big on that. You got to honor people that paved the way before you. Like that's why when I made that sundown video, I kind of expressed it in there. I didn't say he was a founding father, but because of the generational gap between me and him, um, you know, I said that, basically that he definitely needs to get some respect at being part of, of the, the him help laying groundwork for those of us that came way after. You know what I'm saying? Let's see, where am I at? Like this man's jersey that I'm wearing right now, we get to enjoy the fruit of their labor daily. Man, just in terms of the standard of expectation here in Pittsburgh, the relationship that we have with our fan base, we just wanted to honor him, his teammates, and all the men that have came before us that's made the black and gold what it is. And that's true. That's true because the Steelers have a lot of greats. You know what I mean? Lynn Swan, Bradshaw, Mean Joe Green, Jack Lambert. You know what I mean? Franco Harris, uh, Webster. There's a lot of guys. Jerome Bettis. Big Ben, Hines Ward, Palomalu, Rod Woodson. There's a lot. There's a lot, and Kevin Green. Man, I'm trying to think of one dude's name. Greg Lloyd, and all them cats. They do have a rich culture there. They got two back-to-back Super Bowl titles in the '70s. And enough said with that right there. The ceremony attended by the likes of Steelers legends Mel Blount, Joe Green, John Faruka, and witnessed by a dedicated throng of terrible towels willing to brave single-digit temps on Christmas Eve, marked the close of a week of mourning and celebration of Harris, during which the football world remembered fondly a truly unforgettable player and individual. And that play, the Immaculate Reception, if you guys don't know what it is, Google it, look it up. But basically, Bradshaw throws a pass downfield about maybe, 25, 30 yards down the field, maybe a little longer. It bounces off of, I think, a Raider helmet, if I remember. I think it was Jack Tatum. I could be wrong about that. It might have been a Steeler helmet, but uh, Franco it bounces off his helmet, and Franco catches it just before it hits the ground for a long run that ends up being a score. And then you got, there's some other plays that the Raiders were involved too, and that go down in history. But on that one, they were at the losing end that time. John Madden always brings it up. Uh, John Madden always brings up that play because he was the coach of the Raiders at the time. Um, so he's passed on too now. So you know, um, it's just unfortunate how things work out. Franco Harris, like I said, he was supposed to be honored for this, this play and the whole squad, the 72 squad, and he passes away just a few days before. And so he was born Franco Jerome Harris, right? Um, on March 7th, 1950, and he passed away December 20th, 2022. Was an American professional football player who was a running back in the National Football League for 13 seasons, primarily for the Pittsburgh Steelers. A 9-time Pro Bowl selection, he won 4 Super Bowls and a Super Bowl MVP. Against the Minnesota Vikings, he was a key player in one of professional football's most famous plays, dubbed the Immaculate Reception, which gave the Steelers their first ever playoff win. He wore number 32 and 34. He played running back. He was born in Fort Dix, New Jersey, and he passed away in Sewickley, Pennsylvania. He stood 6'2", 230 pounds. He went to Rancocas Valley Regional, Mount Holly, New Jersey High School, and then he went to Penn State. He was drafted in the 72 draft, first round, 13 pick overall. He played with Pittsburgh from 72 to 83, and then the Seahawks in 84. Like I said, he's a 4-time Super Bowl champion. He's a Super Bowl MVP, NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year 72, NFL Man of the Year 76, first team All-Pro 1977, 2-time second team All-Pro 72 and 75, 9-time Pro Bowler from 1972 through 1980. He led the NFL in rushing touchdowns in 1976. He's an NFL 1970s All-Decade Team, Pittsburgh Steelers all-time team, Pittsburgh Steelers Hall of Honor. His number 32 is retired by the Steelers, and he's in the Pittsburgh Pro Football Hall of Fame. And his NFL career NFL statistics read such as rushing yards 12,120 yards for 4.1 yards per carry. He's got 91 rushing touchdowns. He's got 307 receptions for 2,287 yards with 9 rushing touchdowns or 9 receiving touchdowns. Excuse me. So he has a total of 100 touchdowns. That's awesome too. After playing college football for Penn State, Nittany Lions, he was selected by the Steelers in the first round of the 72 NFL draft, like I mentioned, the 13th overall pick. And then he played his first 12 seasons in the NFL with the Steelers, his 13th finals with the Seahawks. He was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1990. So that's just a little bit about Franco Harris. With those numbers, 12,120 yards rushing, he was at one point up there, you know what I mean, with the likes of Jim Brown and then, of course, Walter Payton, you know, some of those guys. And then eventually Barry Sanders passed him, and then Emmitt Smith passed him, and, you know, Eric Dickerson passed him, and a few other guys passed him over the years. But nonetheless, you know, this is a big hit for the Pittsburgh community, the Pittsburgh Steelers franchise. You know, they still have a you know, they got a well, how would I say that? Their group, their unit from 1972, and those 4 Super Bowl teams are still pretty close. You know what I mean? If you noticed, I don't know if you guys noticed, but Mean Joe Green was you know, wiping tears from his face. A lot of the fans were wiping tears from their face. You know, Franco Harris always, it seems that he was always involved with the franchise, doing things for the community of Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? And he was just well involved, giving a lot of interviews. He probably would give out a lot of autographs, pictures. He just seems like that cool guy. And I want to make this other note, you know, because I'm kind of big on ethnicity, as far as like, you know, to honor people when they're to be known as the first of this, the first of that. So Franco Harris was half Italian and half black, and so he was the first ever black Afro-American to win a Super Bowl MVP and the first Italian-American to win a Super Bowl MVP. And I think since him, only ones that, well, as far as last name wise, Joe Montana, there are probably other guys that might be mixed with Italian that won. I'm not sure. But definitely he's a standout. He's a stud. You know what I'm saying? Franco Harris is going to be missed, but like I said, by his community, his friends and family, obviously, and the Pittsburgh organization. You know what I mean? But he also went to Penn State, so he's just a well-rounded Pennsylvania type of guy, right? And then he was born in New Jersey, but New Jersey, as most people know that are from that area, you know, the New Jersey and Pennsylvania are, you know what I mean, the states. So he could be close to the, you know, that place where he's born in Pennsylvania or in New Jersey, may be close to, you know, I don't know how far it is from the Pennsylvania Fort Dix. I'm not sure. But anyway, that's just a quick video. I wanted to give some salute and, you know, and give some honor to the name of Franco Harris, because like I said, he's an NFL legend. You know, he put his work in, and it definitely showed, right? Along with his teammates, because if it wasn't for his teammates, that offensive line, you know, these guys wouldn't be able to do what they do. You know what I mean? It's a unit. You know, it's like a well-oiled machine. These dynasty teams, you know, the Pittsburgh Steelers of the 70s, the 49ers of the 80s, you know what I mean? The New England Patriots of the 2000s, the 2010s, you know what I mean? You know, the Chiefs of now, you know what I mean? They got a Super Bowl win. You know what I mean? All these teams, they're like a well-oiled machine, and they keep it going. You know what I'm saying? And it takes every section of the team. You know what I mean by every section is the offensive line, you know, the receivers, the running back, the quarterback, obviously is the captain. You know what I mean? Then you got your you know, the tight end also helps block, and he goes and catches passes. You know, you got your special teams, the kickoff, punt, return team, and the, you know, the return team and the the kickoff team. And then you got your secondary in the defense, which is your safeties, your D backs. You got your inside linebackers, outside linebackers. You got uh, your pass rushers, your defensive line. All that's got to be clicking together to win, like some of these dynasty teams have done. You know what I mean? So you can't just say, "Oh, well, it was because of Terry Bradshaw. Oh, it was because Lynn Swan. It was because Franco Harris. It was because Jack Lambert. It was because, me, Joe Green." Nah, that's not the way it works. It's everybody clicks together in formation as one machine, you know, and a well-oiled machine at that. 4 Super Bowls in 1 decade is big time accomplishments for the Steelers and the Niners and the Cowboys too. They got a few too in the '70s. So that being said, Big Lou's tapping on out. Merry Christmas, everybody! It is Christmas Day. Um, be safe, be wise, live wisely. Think before you think before you do things, because every action has consequences and every action has reaction. So you guys know I'm big on this. Don't drink and drive, people. Have that. Make sure you have that designated driver in place. Make sure you have your Uber account open. If you have to call the Uber, call the taxi if you have to. And again, walk. If it comes down to you getting behind a wheel and you're inebriated, don't take that chance. Even if it's only 2 or 3 blocks away. Shouts out to Sticks. Let's go to Stay Awake TV and listen to Sticks' story. You know, um, it is what it is, and you're gonna have to live with that. If something happens, God forbid, you'll have to live with it. And perhaps uh, go to prison. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. But let's not even let that happen and be responsible, peoples. That being said, again, Big Lou, I'm tapping out this time.